All right, it seems like I'm live. Could you guys let me know about audio and video quality as usual? Round two of the FIDE candidates, not FIDE candidates, I'm still on FIDE candidates. Round two of the Norway Chess 2024. Still used to FIDE candidates. Wow. Yeah. It's a great thing because we have got some interesting games today. We got Firouzja against Fabiano, and it's already looking very complex, and complex positions is something both of these guys thrive in. So this is a very interesting matchup. Firuja seems to be better prepared. Firuja seems to be a little bit better prepared. We got this London system. How did we get into a complicated position from London system? Okay, bg4 is a line. Today I was looking at, I think I was today looking at this one. This is interesting. And here actually, I had this one blitz game where I played knight e5. My opponent I took with the pawn, knight d7, knight f3. I think we went something like this. And it was an interesting game, h4 to get in h5. I played queen d2, but overall black was fine here. This was the line I was looking at. bg4 also exists. I know for sure bg4 exists. And I think dc5 is the main move. I would have thought so, that dc5 is the main move. No? There is e5. Huh, maybe different position. Okay, we got c3. Just solidifying here. e6. Now the bishop is outside the pawn chain rather than inside. And now Firuza goes for this queen b3 idea, which is reasonable since you want to get out of the pin. You are attacking b7. The bishop does not defend the knight anymore. So, well, it was never defending the knight, but bishop does not defend the b7 pawn anymore. So queen c8, h3 is Firuza's idea. Bishop h5, bishop e2. g4 was interesting as well. Because the position is relatively closed, you can afford to play a move like g6. Firuza keeps it conservative with bishop e2. We have bishop e7, g4, bishop g6. Still in preparation. Knight h4 is his big idea, apparently, I think. And this is where Caruana begins to think, because I guess knight h4 came as a slight surprise. Bishop e4, reasonable. f3, c4. You play bishop e4 to provoke f3, and once you provoke f3, the knight cannot go to f3. And this bishop is sort of blocked on this diagonal. So if you play g5, I can play knight h5 since the bishop is not looking there anymore. So f3, c4, queen d1, knight h5, excellent. gh5, you have bishop h4. Firuza takes, bishop h4, king f1, bishop d3. So now this is an interesting decision by Fabiano because well, firstly, he could not have gone bishop f5. There is e4. But Fabiano believes that this pawn is not a weakness, but rather a strength. So the first thing I wanted to investigate was what happens after queen b1. I can't get the pawn, can I? There is e5. Let's say I take with the pawn. There is queen f5. Yeah, so if I take queen f5, I defend d3 and I'm attacking here and I'm attacking here. That's amazing. So it doesn't quite work out. And so Firouzja played king g2, which is very reasonable. The question here is, can black still play e5? This is what I'm trying to figure out. Let's say e5 takes queen f5. And what could I do there? Well, actually, here I can take with the bishop, right? Knight takes, pawn takes, queen f5. I can play f4 and then I can play queen g4. I think this position is a bit different. Yeah, that's what I would do. Take with the bishop, pawn takes. Here. Queen f5, f4, and then I play queen g4. And I think I'm doing well there as white. Can't play e5. You could prepare e5 with f6. I think that's an option. That's an option. Am I live or not? Could you guys let me know if I'm live or not? Because on OBS it's still saying go live. I think I'm live. Oh, was I just speaking to myself this whole time? I guess I'm live. Oh, Shakib. Hello. Okay, I'm live. Didn't know you played chess. Didn't know you played chess. Very nice. Nice to see you here. Uh, so you know the thumbnail that you see? I actually made that myself. Oh, no way. No way. That's awesome. No, I didn't know. How would have I known that? But oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So we got this King G2 thing here. Shouldn't you be preparing for your exams? I guess chess is too addictive, isn't it? You think so? You think so? Thank you. I was like, let me see what I can do. Went on Canva, got a template, got the picture of these guys, just put them together and tried to make something. I think it looks okay. It's not too bad, but maybe not too good as well. But all right, with that, let's continue with the commentary. We got okay, Ding versus Pragyananda. Wow, what is this knight doing on e4 that early? What is this? c4 e5. We had this interesting position. Oh, this is standard. d3 is standard. And bishop b6, pawn takes. Ding has played this multiple times, both sides. And de4, knight takes. Okay, de4. I've seen de4 before. Mostly I've seen castle. Okay, d4 apparently is possible, and then of course you have to take with the knight. Taking with the pawn is dubious. Since I can just take, bishop takes, and knight c3, this pawn is in big trouble. If you defend, I think I have knight b5, don't I? I have knight c5, yeah, this is even better. Attacks both ways. That doesn't quite work out, so de4, knight e4, short castle. That's what has been played, right? Yeah. Short castle. And now, what should Pragyananda do? Let's say black castles. Yeah, I mean, castling doesn't look too wrong, right? Knight c3 takes bishop e6. There might be c4 and then... No, c4 I can take, right? Doesn't seem like c4 is possible. No, it's not. But then both of us have an isolated pawn. Should be around balanced, unless Ding has prepared something special. Like knight d4, put a rook on b1. Could that be a way to gain some slight advantage? I guess we'll figure out. Oh wow. Oh wow, that's a nice coincidence there. Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Using your time wisely. You think oh, that's a huge compliment, you know? You if you wow, really? Really? Wow. That's probably the greatest comment I've ever received on my channel. Wow. Very appreciative of that. Very appreciative of that. Oof, guys. Okay, so knight d4, you're trying to possibly gain the bishop pair, and in an open position, you do want the bishop pair. You also gain an e6 weakness, but you slightly weaken f2, which is something that needs to be evaluated. So, talking about is a position like this, where black gives up the bishop pair, white has the bishop pair, as you can see. However, black has got some activity towards f2, and white has a slightly weaker c3 pawn. And let's say I play rook b1, I still want some pressure here. Engine claims a slight edge for white. Engine does do that. I, however, think black is doing okay. Personal feeling, I think black is doing okay. But the only way for white to create some play has to be with e4. If you don't play e4, then you can't use these bishops to the full potential. If you cannot do that, then black is doing completely fine. So let's say black plays rook c8, and then I can play e4. If you take, then e6 is a major weakness, and if you play d4, then I can play queen g4. Or can I not? dc3. Oh, shoot. Yeah, you can't. But you can take here, and then you can play queen g4, right? Yeah, at least now it's a bit better. Engine claims you can even take, which is somehow not that convincing to me. I don't think black has problems after taking. I'll play queen e2 instead. And then I can put the bishop this way. I can try for some little things. So maybe not as easy for black as I would think. Not as easy for black as I would think. Knight c3 takes. Is there any other way we can play better? Let's say bishop a3 is also a move, but let's explore knight d4 for a second. I just want to see if I can equalize as black. That's what I'm really interested in. So we saw knight c6 doesn't quite equalize. At least optically it looked like it could. Doesn't quite do that, according to me. So what's the other move you can play? Is this what Ding has actually looked at in his own time? He realizes the subtleties of these positions and says, well, black is not equalizing. One major factor is one file and potential pressure here. This is what's really helping him. Now, well, Engine says this move. To me, this is very strange, but Engine says on d4. And give up this bishop. I thought this bishop was the pride of your position, and now you only have the bad bishop. So, I can potentially see cd4 equalizing, but even that's not clear. I mean, the plan for black here is that you make a fortress with knight c6, b6, and you have all the weaknesses under control. That's what Engine is claiming. Somehow, I'm not convinced. I think bishop pair always has a slight edge. Maybe you also want to put the knight on c4, but then e4 things. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I feel like white still has a slight edge. And if I take with the queen, can I get even more? Can I get even more? I think I can actually. Knight c6, queen a4, rook d1. I put this rook here. Put the bishop on a3. I think I can gain more from this one. But if you are, let's say, a low risk player, you don't like risks, then you just take with the pawn. And yeah, white can never be worse here. The only thing is, if black can equalize. Maybe slightly higher chance for black to equalize here, but I still prefer white. I still prefer white. Two bishops, open position, bad bishop. Because of the d5 pawn, I believe in white more than I believe in black here. Alright, I'll go on to the next one. We got Magnus. Oh wow, didn't even know it was Magnus Hikaru today. Hikaru's up on the clock. He knows something we don't. You know, Hikaru's playing these lines. He's coming up with these new lines every day that are probably objectively slightly dubious, but he's analyzed them in depth. Like a6, bishop c5 is not something you see regularly. The main move by far is knight f6 here. Exclusively knight f6. I think you rarely see knight e7 as well. But bishop c5, it's a playable move. I think there is a course by this guy, Pavel Elyanov, on this line. Maybe he does it with direct bishop c5, or maybe he includes a6, which I don't remember. But he does recommend this as a practical option. So maybe Hikaru has used that as a reference, who knows. Then he plays knight e7, which is reasonable, consistent. And okay, castle bishop e3, this is standard. I think I played once with bishop g5, f6, then bishop e3. I played like that once. Queen f6. Now, queen f6 has to be new. Never seen queen f6 in my life here. Never. The plan is connected with bishop g4, I assume. Putting some pressure on d4. Knight f4 seems unlikely. You'll have problems. Knight f4 seems unlikely. But at least d6, bg4 ideas could be there. Putting pressure on d4. Bishop c6 by Carlsen. Strange. Little bit strange to me. Giving up the bishop for what? For what though? ed4 by Hikaru. Bishop takes. Okay, Magnus is not trying for much here. He's only. Magnus is hoping that in the end game he can outplay because of a 4 versus 3. Has there been anything in the chat? Ding would win. He might get cooked. Black got all pieces at home. Magnus only what's in game. That's what I think he's doing. He's happy with the 4 versus 3 on the king side. Like this is the classical thing that we get from Roy Lopez, right? Like this is what we get in this structure. That's what we hope in this classical Roy Lopez, that we go into an end game and we get this pawn usually goes away. So what we say usually is, let's say for example, we hope that we get a 4 versus 3 end game in this type of structure. Not here, there is c5 here, but I'm just trying to give an example. So this is what you want from Roy Lopez. And Magnus has sort of got it, sort of. The only thing is maybe concretically black is holding with a move like c5, for example. It's a question where to put the knight. Ideally, you would want this knight on d5, but you can't get it on d5. If you could just put this knight on d5, it's very nice position. But how to get it there? That's a question, right? So let's say you start with, I don't know, knight c2 to get this knight to d5. Black is quick enough with rook d8. Let's say I play knight somewhere. No, knight has to go f3, bishop g4. Can't do that. Okay, knight c4, let's say. Then black attacks with bishop e6. I can bring this knight and I could put this knight here. And the whole concept is that after rook d7, it is so hard for me to get knight d5. So I probably need to change plan. I need to play g3, f4 and target these two pieces. And let's say I changed my plan, or at least I adapt to the situation. Black can just play f6. And after f4, I think he just moves back. Like bishop f7 is good enough. Ingen even says rook a d8. Because you can always take, right? Yeah, so f5 is not even a threat. If you just play that, I take. And even though you have 4 versus 3, black is doubled up. So this is most likely going to be a draw, even though black has some pressure. Black has some pressure. So like I was just trying to navigate some subtleties of this endgame. Hopefully that was more or less instructive. Even though it's a 4 versus 3, black's activity compensates for that positional sort of disadvantage. Hopefully that's like simple to understand. Relatively simple to understand. That's the idea. That's the idea, really. Mostly draw. Yeah, if you play precisely draw. Exactly. But, you know, how many times have we seen Magnus rising from the dead? How many times have we seen Magnus converting a completely equal position out of nowhere? And there is also a Magnus effect, the psychological edge Magnus has against all his opponents. That's not to be forgotten about. Not to be forgotten about. The only advantage in Hikaru's favor is the clock. Hikaru is up on the clock significantly for now. On the other hand, the position is not too complicated, so Magnus can play it with common sense. That's the thing. That's the thing. So I think it comes down to how well can Hikaru play endgame against Magnus. Can he grind it down against Magnus in Magnus's style? That's a big statement, isn't it? That's a big statement. So don't see that yet. What else have we got? No progress in Fabiano's game, right? Not that I see. Any updates? Okay, he's played one move. He's Queen d8. Like we were discussing, if we could play f6 and e5, that would seem reasonable. But he plays Queen d8. I'm trying to understand what this move actually does. Does he want g5? He could have done that directly, no? Or is he looking for Queen f6, Queen f5? That's also possible, but that looks a bit slow. Or does he simply want to exchange? Also possible. Like this is not wrong. This cannot be wrong. So let's say knight b3. I try to gain this pawn. Bishop g5. And I play I can take, I can retreat. For a moment, let's consider retreating. I think taking is simple because you take and you lose this pawn. Let's consider this for a second. Do you lose this e3 pawn? Not quite, right? There is f4 trapping the bishop, and then you play d3, the bishop has problems. Not quite. So, bishop g3, I guess black plays bishop h4 again. If you take, I get to the h5 pawn quickly. So, for example, let's say you play f4. I guess d3 pawn will fall there. So, I'm not sure what Fabiano's achieving with queen d8. He spent 25 minutes on that move. 25. So, this one is interesting, isn't it? What do we think? Is there anything I'm missing? Maybe you can point out, any viewers. Like, what do you think is the idea with queen d8? Have I missed something? Like, f6 looked so natural to me that I thought it was like one of the only moves. But what have I missed? What have I missed, if anything at all? No, maybe not. Okay, okay, c5 played. Hikaru played this one precisely. And within 4 minutes, which is pretty good. Now, is Magnus going to go for knight f5, which seems a bit more aggressive? And the like you are still maneuvering this knight to e3 and hoping for knight d5 in the future. Like d5 is where the knight belongs. That's where you want to place it. But how to place it is the question after a move like rook d8. Maybe Berlin isn't as easy to win as you would think in such an endgame. There is the reason we called it a Berlin Wall. It's like a Berlin Wall, isn't it? Basically like a Berlin Wall. So yeah, I mean, Magnus hasn't got much out of the opening. And his decisions were, somewhat sketchy. I think going into an endgame, which is not even guaranteed to give you an advantage, slightly sketchy decision. I guess he assumed that Hikaru was very well prepared. I think that's what happened. Because he could have played bishop g5, he could have played knight d2, he could have even played h3. All these moves were fine. But Magnus most likely did not want to calculate all the subtleties because it's very hard position to calculate. After a move like, for example, h3, you need to see b5, you need to see d6, you need to see first b5, then d6, you need to consider ed4. So many things Magnus would have had to consider. And I think this is why he wanted to keep it simple. Magnus loves to simplify. I mean, Magnus is a fan of simple positions than complicated ones. It's well known. Well known. Never played Berlin in your life. I hope you. I hope you don't. I hope a situation doesn't arise where you have to play Berlin. But it's one of the. It's one of the more solid weapons against Roy Lopez. Like, I was studying Berlin for a while, like briefly, and to be honest, I could not break it from white. Yeah. No, I mean, I can hope for slight advantage, but nothing special. I could not break the Berlin. Yeah. So Berlin is a pretty solid opening if you are looking to play as black against Roy Lopez. Pretty solid, yeah. Oh, so you like spicy stuff, don't you? You like that Schliemann gambit, like how Pragyananda did in the candidates. The jawline is looking fine. Huh? I'm just, uh, Pragyananda played that in the candidates. This a6 f5 idea. It was a good, yeah, it's a good surprise weapon. But I would not play it, let's say, in a classical game. In Blitz, completely fine. Rapid, fine. In a classical game, yes, he played a6 first, then he played f5. There is not enough lighting, is there? Is the lighting okay? Feel like the screen is a bit dull, but maybe better than yesterday. Pragyananda played a6, and it was a great surprise weapon against with it. Yeah, maybe I'll have to try it someday. Against in one of my matches. Hope my opponent isn't well prepared. I've never played f5 in my life, so I could potentially look to doing so in one of my classical games. How has your score been with that? Have you been scoring well? I guess if you play it in faster time controls, you probably are, aren't you? It's a tricky one. I know one guy who's an IM who plays it on a regular basis in classical. So I guess if he hasn't. Yeah, most of them just lose quickly. If you don't know the theory, you'll lose very quickly there. Like one guy I know who's an IM plays it on a regular basis. So he must see something in it. Otherwise, he won't be playing it. So pretty sound opening. So Knight f5 played by Carlsen as it seems. Yeah, Magnus did not need much time to figure out, although he does not look very pleased on the screen. Magnus, Hikaru's body language seems more open. He seems calm and collected. Magnus is like, what have I done? Or so it appears. Maybe he's just bluffing. Maybe he's just bluffing. You never know. Your opponent just lost his queen on move 8 to 9. Maybe we need to look at Schliemann together. I would love to have such a situation. Would be fun. Like, there is nothing more in this world that I would love to have my opponent lose his queen on move 8 to 9. What has your shortest classical game victory been? Probably this one then. 8 to 9, yeah. I don't think I've ever won a classical game in 8 to 9 moves. I think the most I have won, the least I've won was in 16 moves. I think I won a classical game in 16 moves, but I have never done less than that. 15 or 16, yeah. Never less than that. Not that I can recall. But it's a good feeling when you can win a classical game in 30 minutes. Huh. Oh, it was a 25-10. Okay. Rapid. 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 Nice. Yeah. It's nice though. It's nice. Okay, what's Hikaru's thinking now? What is he thinking? Bishop e6, maybe. Like, bishop e6 looks so natural. I don't think even Hikaru has to think here. Like, you could just play bishop e6 and be completely fine. Like, both of these players could play this position with common sense. And Hikaru especially. I think Magnus has to think a little bit more here. Hikaru's moves are like flowing. Did you actually catch that? Okay, sure, sure. Why not? Yeah. Did you see Hans? He's been playing well lately. But Sam Shankland beat Hans in Sharjah. Did you see that? It was a really, really tragic endgame. Really tragic endgame. Sam Shankland versus Hans, Grandmasters, both of them. How much do you know about Sam Shankland? I'm actually curious. How much do you know about Sam Shankland? Not Sam Savian, Sam Shankland. But until then, I'm just waiting for bishop e6. Hikaru's just probably double checking a couple of things, which he of course can, given he has 1 hour, 46 minutes on the clock. There is no need to rush whatsoever, but he can play bishop e6 anytime he wants. Might as well take a fair bit of time. I don't know what could go wrong. Like what sort of line might he be calculating? What is he looking at most likely? Let's say bishop e6. Knight b3, there is b6, so that doesn't achieve anything. I can probably put a rook here. If you take, then the rook gets sort of trapped. The bishop gets sort. No, it doesn't actually. I thought there was b3, but there is c4, so you can't get trapped, can you? c4. Better than c4 is rook d8. You stop rook d1, rook a1, and then you gain d2. Okay, so bit careful there. And If you play knight f3, which was the move I think we considered initially, just rook d8. Yeah, and I don't see any play for white. At least not for the time being. Maybe you can play b3, c4, sort of clamp down everything and then play rook d1. This is sort of thing Hikaru does in Blitz. He'll clamp down one side and just get a free position. But then a5, even Hikaru can try for something. No, let's say c4 and then f6. You clamp down here, you probably double on the next two moves and you're doing well. You don't know him? Oh, wow, okay. No, Sam, I mean, I don't expect you to really. I mean, Sam Shankland is reasonably popular. Not as popular as these guys, but reasonably well known to be a super grandmaster. Strong player, really strong player. He's a student of Jakob Egard, you know, the famous coach Jakob Egard. He's a student of Egard. 2700, nearly 2700 grandmaster. He beat Hans in Sharjah. Tragic endgame. You might want to check that out soon. For now, we don't see much here. F6. Yeah, this is dry. I want to look at Fabiano's one. Knight f1 played. Okay, Ali Reza kept it very conservative. Didn't go for much here. I thought he could have more aggressively with knight b3. He kept it conservative, which is nothing wrong with it. But now Fabiano can go queen b6, attack b2. And let's say I defend b2. Well, he could take, but let's say I defend b2. Then Fabiano has this cool trick with queen a6. And he defends this pawn this way. And the funny thing is, you attack e2 as well, and there is no way to put further pressure on d3. Not that I can see. So this might be his big idea, this queen b6, queen a6. Which would not be terrible. It's possible. It's just I didn't expect it. Huh. So yeah, that's probably Fabiano's big idea. Queen b6. The question is, can white hope for some advantage after taking on d3? The claim for white is that after takes, he wants to play knight d2 and question whether rook b1, b7 comes with a lot of force. So to prevent that, you have to play queen a3, otherwise rook b1. And then let's say I play rook b1 anyways. Let's say I play, which rook to play? Let's say this rook. b6. You defend the pawn. Can I play e4? But then you just castle and seems like black's pieces are better coordinated. And white's king seems a little bit dubious. I think, yeah, black is doing fine here. If this is Fabiano's idea, then he's just a genius. Like, what else to say? If this is Fabiano's idea, he's just a genius then. Just a genius. I don't know if anyone agrees or not, but most of the Magnus's game are not that exciting to watch because of lots of trade and it's just an endgame with an hour on the clock, like no attacks, no tactics. I'm trying to think. 2019 Magnus was very aggressive. When he was playing Sveshnikov all the time. Sveshnikov Sicilian. That Magnus was very aggressive. These days, I think he's playing calmly. These days, I think he's more calm. So probably you are right about current Magnus. I can't imagine, at least I'm not seeing lots of classical games with fireworks from his side. But 2019 Magnus, if you go like pre-COVID or then he was playing Sveshnikov, that Magnus was crazy. He was destroying everyone with Sveshnikov. Yeah. And then suddenly he stopped playing Sveshnikov. Which was very strange to me. I'm like, he played it so much and then he just stopped playing it. After, I think, Fabiano's World Champ. After he played it against Fabiano in the World Championship match. That Magnus was different. Oh, you've been only playing for a year and you're still 1800. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. So you only know current Magnus. Okay. You missed the best of him. You missed the best of him. A couple of years ago as well, he played some sharp games, but Very recently, yeah, a bit more calm, bit more calm. But Hikaru's playing interesting chess. He's playing new openings. He's bringing up new ideas. Hikaru's playing more exciting chess. And like these prodigies like Gukesh, for example, Gukesh, Pragyananda, these guys are playing exciting chess. Dubov is playing exciting chess. Duda's playing exciting chess. But yeah, the old guys have slowed down. I think even Anish Giri. No, Anish, how has he been doing? When was the last time Anish played a classical game? Yeah, Pragyananda definitely played exciting chess, but I'm when was Anish Giri's last classical game? I can't even recall. I saw Anish in Title Tuesday, but when was the last time he played a classical game? He's been out for a while. Or am I just forgetting something? Anish Giri is a specialist with opening ideas. He brings some. Well, what he does is he does not bring, let's say, new ideas like what Pragyananda was doing. What Anish would do is he would go into main lines and then in those main lines he would bring up a new idea somewhere. So he plays like he doesn't do non-standard openings. He does normal openings, solid openings, and then brings some ideas over there, which is very respectable. But I doubt I would ever see Anish Giri playing A6 F5 like Pragyananda did. So I don't think Anish Giri does dubious openings. Objectively dubious openings. Objectively. There's a difference between objective and practical. Don't think Anish Giri does that. But I like his playing style. I like to watch him. I like him commentating as well. Cool guy, really cool guy. And yeah, haven't even seen Grishuk in a while. Grishuk playing classical chess. Maybe he played one tournament recently, but I want to see more of him. Sort of semi-retired, isn't he? Uh, okay, so we got this situation. Pragyananda said, I don't even want to defend the pawn. Wow, okay. So he says, take my pawn and I'm going for yours. Okay, I did a similar thing in one of my games. But does it actually work here if I play bishop b2? Do you have enough activity? He's hoping for activity. But bishop e6, let's say I play queen b5 and trying to go a4, a5. What do you do? Rook b8, a4. And there's a5, isn't there? Yeah, this doesn't seem. I don't know. Does the sacrifice work? Am I. Bishop e2. Let's try rook d8 for a second. Queen b5 anyways. Bishop d7. Queen h5. g6. Queen h6. Okay, not as easy maybe. No, not as easy as I would think. Okay, maybe he does have some practical compensation. Yeah, I would not discard that. And 92, 94. Yeah, he does have some practical compensation. Yeah, okay. No, not a completely unreasonable idea. And he played that with 2 minutes of thought. Maybe he's still in prep. Maybe. Nice, nice. No, I mean, if Ding doesn't take, then knight d4 is not as effective anymore because there is a knight here. Like, if you play knight d4 now, this is not as great. Now we both have two bishops, and this is roughly equal. Slight edge for white, but nothing. This is more defendable than having the knight on c6 and a bishop on e6. Two bishops, nothing sharp can happen. So knight d4 is still possible, but I'm guessing if Ding wants to play for a win, he has to take on d5. I don't see more than that. Yeah, yeah, fun. Oh, no worries, Sakaev. Uh, Sakiv. Yeah, good luck with your exam. Hi, Atharv. Hi, Atharv. Great to see you again. You've been very supportive, joining all the streams, watching all the posts. Really appreciate it. You'll be known as one of the OGs of the stream. So yeah, very nice to see some people like who've been there since the beginning. Like I'm at what, like 160 subscribers, trying to grow my channel. Vertical stream, as you said yesterday, starts tomorrow. So from tomorrow I'll be doing vertical and normal at the same time, because I figured out the software. I just need to set it up. I did not have time today, but from tomorrow it will be on the shorts and on YouTube, as you said, the normal YouTube. So that was a great idea. So this is nice. So will Anish take, will Anish, not Anish, Denglerin take the pawn or not? He doesn't. Hikaru's in the confession booth? Hikaru's in the confession booth saying something. I'm not hearing it. He's giving some thoughts on something. I guess I'll have to look at that afterwards. Nice. Uh, until then, he's played bishop e6, as we said. Magnus has played knight f3, as we also said. And now Hikaru just has to put a rook on d8, and he's doing well. Fabiano's one. Fabiano is opted for a completely different thing. He's opted for queen e7, not the queen b6, queen a6 genius idea. And he's saying that, he's saying, Firouzja, take this pawn. I'm very happy for you to do so. And then I'm playing f5. And then I'm playing e5 and I'm trying to attack your king. Interesting idea. However, if I don't take the pawn on d3, what else do? I have to take it at some point. So I might as well do it now. And then f5, bishop g3 or knight d2. Let's say knight d2. You can't play e5 right now, can you? If you take, there is a d5 hanging. So you can't do that right now for sure. Maybe g5, trying to open up the king this way. If edge g6 is rook g8 possible. You want to get the rook behind the king. Rook g1, rook g6, king h1, I think holds. I think that holds. So I think Alireza is in the driver's seat. He's up on time as well, and he has a better position as well. Fabiano definitely saw something was wrong with this idea, but I can't tell what. I think he did not like queen b6, queen b3. If queens get traded, then d3 pawn falls in the endgame. However, he can actually afford to do the trade of queens with knight a5. Now this is completely engine-like, because I would really think this pawn would fall in the endgame. Apparently, you can get knight c4 in very quickly, and you put pressure on a2. So you can't take straight away. Have to play queen a4 check, knight c6. Okay, queen b3, knight a5, we can always repeat. And if I play b3 to get to this pawn next with rook d1, then there is a5. What does it do? I have no idea. a5, and then you play queen a6. Ah, you play queen a6 after a5 so that the queens cannot get traded, and you defend the pawn this way. And you claim that this queen is offside. You claim this queen is offside. Candy shop owner, long time. Hi. Hi there. Is missing you, man. How are you? You are one of the OGs as well. Maybe short stream on YouTube and long Twitch would be a better idea. I've got to set up Twitch then. The thing with Twitch is, I don't know, can you stream on Twitch and on YouTube on the same time? There are some restrictions last time I checked. And I was like, what to do about that? One thing I could do is I could do on Leeches and YouTube on the same time. I think that could work. Or chess.com and YouTube at the same time, that could work. I'll have to fill some application, I guess. Yeah. Are you sure you can do both on Twitch and here? I think there were some restrictions, unless they fixed it. Okay, let me try Twitch. I don't like the Twitch platform, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like Twitch. Kick is better, I think. Twitch has too many ads. I don't want my viewers to get involved in that. I think for me, it's important to prioritize your experience. So personally, I don't like Twitch, but I'll see. I'll see. If I can make it work, I'll do it. Worst case, people can just come and watch on YouTube. I'm doing very well as well. My exams just ended, so I was like, let's get back to streaming. Let's get back to some chess. So we got some really cool opening ideas. Well, it doesn't hurt me. If something I can gain maybe some money from it, I don't even know. But that's not the point here. It's like your experience. Do you guys have YouTube Premium? Do you guys use YouTube Premium, or do you just pay, like, or you just watch the ads? In India, at least, YouTube Premium isn't that expensive, right? It's like 100 rupees, I think, 110, 120 rupees. I think it's well worth to pay for YouTube Premium. I pay for it. I pay for it. It's just better experience, pleasant experience. I don't have to watch ads ever. So, oh, you use Brave. Okay, that's an option as well. So if you use Brave, no ads. Okay, that's an option. Yeah, that's an option. Okay, sure, sure. I understand. Reasonable. Reasonable. Until then, let's see. We got no more moves in Magnus's game. Okay, Ding hasn't accepted the challenge. Ding says I'm going for bishop a3. But after rook e8, he still has the opportunity to take on d5, does he? If you take with the queen, then e2 will hang at the end. If you take with the bishop, then there can be bishop g4 ideas, right? And you can't play f3. And now queen f6 could work very well in combination with bishop g4 and rook e8. So I don't think bishop a3 was precise. Personally, I don't think so. I think he had to accept the challenge with queen d5. The only thing I can potentially see happening is him trying to go for the bishop trade and claim that without the bishop there is no pressure on f2, which is true. And then I guess he's hoping to play against this d5 weakness in the long term. I think this is what he's really hoping for. Put some pressure here, always a slight edge. I think this is what he's actually hoping for. You get a similar position in something called Dubov Tarash. Let me show you guys. You get a similar position if you play something like c4, e6, knight f3, d5, here, here, g3, knight c6, bishop g2, takes, bishop c5, knight b3, bishop b6. Let's say castle, for example. Castle, bishop g5, rook e8, rook e1. No, not here. Wait, I think I messed up something. Bishop, knight b3, bishop b6, castle d4 first, knight a4, castle bishop g5, then you play rook e8, rook e1, and you get a similar position here. You sack a pawn like this, and then you sack a pawn like this. You go back to d8. This has some complicated theory, but you claim pressure over e2, and you go bishop g4 or bishop b7 at some point. Very similar idea, but very advanced though. I mean, I don't want to get into the subtleties. But I mean, this kind of sacrifice is possible. That's what I'm trying to say. He goes e3. Okay, blocks this bishop completely. Stops bishop g4 as well, so reasonable. And then he wants the d5 pawn. And if you defend, let's say now you have to play bishop e6. Queen f6 is possible too. Let's say you play bishop e6. Then I think he's hoping for bishop c5 ideas. And he wants to clamp down the d4 square, put some pressure on b7. Slight edge, nothing special. No, I have Brave as well. But when you go for general inquiries, do you get similar search results on Brave as you do on Google? Are the results similar? So let's say, I'm looking for some concept. I don't know. Maybe I'm studying maths and I have some concept and I want a certain website, which I know shows up in the top search results of Google. Would the same thing happen on Brave? In my experience, Brave does the search listing differently, like which sites come on the top. Maybe because of different SEO for them. Have you guys had that experience? Or do you think it's reasonable? What do you think? So this is that. I mean, okay, let me commentate in the meanwhile. We got, Fabiano's playing some sketchy chess. I mean, at least optically it looks like Rook D8. He doesn't even go for F5 ideas, F5, G5 ideas. He plays this calm Rook D8. Somehow this is not in the spirit of the position. The thing is, he's trying to play E5. That's the only sense I can make out of Rook D8. But if he wanted to play E5, why did he play F6 here and then play E5 straight away? Because there is knight F1 or something. And if you play E5, bishop G3, apparently this is not that great for black. Apparently. Huh. To me, why does F6 look so good to me? Knight F1. I don't know. Engine's confused as well. To me, F6 looks so natural, but Fabiano thinks otherwise. Even Queen D7, Queen D3. I can play G5 maybe. Or Queen F7, get to this pawn this way. That's a cool idea. At least I think this is better than the game. Maybe Fabiano thinks otherwise. Queen D8 is fine, and I thought Fabiano would actually go for Queen B6, Queen A6 idea, which looks so nice. But he goes for Queen E7, doesn't make sense to me. Queen E7, maybe a little bit sensible. Rook D8 doesn't make sense to me. I don't see the point. Are you really trying to go F6, E5 still? Let's say Rook G1, I try to hide my king. Hi Atharv, hi, how's it going? Yes, that happens. The order changes, but the search results are more or less the same. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. What do you think about how Fabiano has played so far? He's trying to open some things, but I don't know what exactly. I could play Rook G1, then I could play King H1, and what happens then? What happens then? But of course, Fabiano is much better than me, so maybe he's saying more than what I am. But currently, I don't see anything for him. Maybe he wants F6. 6, why not? We are analyzing, so we can try everything. King H2, let's say. I put my king to safety. I open the G file as I should. Castle, and there is bishop G3. And I say you don't even get E5 in time. I can take with the knight. If you play E5, that's just dead lost. Knight F5. Both these things crush you. Crush you, yeah. Yeah, feel free to ask any other questions, guys. I think I've commentated on detail on all the games. So you are free to ask any other questions that you may have. Chess, otherwise, like besides chess, I don't care. Anything. It's really cool to chat with you guys. I really enjoy it. That's why I stream. Even if 2 or 3 people, and if they are engaging in the chat, it's really pleasant for me. Because imagine there comes a time when there are many people on the chat. The chat is going so quick, I won't be able to reply to all of them. So while we are a small channel, we can keep it personalized. And I like that feeling for now. Hi Ram, hi. Long time no see. Great to have you in the chat as well. Okay, some of the OGs are joining in. We are still looking for this one guy. They shall. The candidates' times were great. We had so much fun there. So much fun. Candidates' times were good. I mean, this is the second major event that has happened since then. Maybe one or a couple more before that. But yeah, candidates was good. Imagine if you go back to the stream, when I started the stream, I said, "Okay, guys, we are into the FIDE candidates round 2." I forgot this is Norway chess. I was still in that candidates mode. Go back to the beginning of the stream, you'll see. Like very beginning, in the first minute or two, I said, "Welcome to the FIDE candidates round 2." I forgot this is Norway chess. It was fun. Yeah, Teshal is not. Teshal was one, and there was one more guy. Forgot his name. Should not be. Oh, that's embarrassing on my part. Ah, it's on my tongue, but it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm forgetting his name. I think there was 007 at the end of his name. What? No, that's Candy Shop owner 007. The other one, forgot his name. That's embarrassing on my part. That's embarrassing. Oh, he had this yellow, sort of yellow, uh, what do you call it, profile picture. What was his name though? Oof, very embarrassing. But okay, let's continue. Let me know if you guys know who I'm talking about. Like, that guy was always on the stream. Almost every stream. Okay, Magnus has played G3 King G2, just keeping it PG. Just doing nothing. Just Magnus things. Slowly improving position. Maybe he wants H4, H5, which would not be too unreasonable. Hikaru could just play F6 though. H4, I think that's what Carlsen intends, but there is just H5. And Hikaru says, well, Carlsen, I have stopped everything you could possibly do, so good luck. So let's say Magnus doesn't play H4. What does he do then? Maybe he goes for a rook trade, but then A2 might hang. Somehow I don't feel this is as easy as for Carlsen as I would think it was. Even knight E3, bishop F7, rook D1, he would have to give up this pawn. You can't even play A3 because bishop B3 will just take away the D1 square, which is critical. This is not easy for Magnus. Magnus is on the defensive side. Surprising that within 14 moves, Magnus lost. It didn't even have slight advantage within 14 moves. So Hikaru is doing some good prep. Can Hikaru double up rooks? Yes, we can. Yes, he can. We discussed that like a few minutes ago. He can. He can. Did Magnus retire from competitive chess? Uh, I mean, he retired from the world championship, right? But he didn't retire from classical chess. He said he would be playing less of it, but he didn't say he was retiring. At least that's to my knowledge. Might be wrong. Might be wrong. I don't think. I think he said he's not going to. He's going to play less of classical chess. But yeah, 2 years until we can find the next candidates, guys. So you'll have to wait for that. Until then, you have to enjoy Norway chess with me. I'm trying to improve my commentating skills. So hopefully, sometime in the future, we would be playing. We would be commentating even better, and we'll be getting more viewers. That would be nice. I was playing some chess.com Blitz and I was playing quite well recently. I crossed 2700 on chess.com. If you guys see the posts, like before, just after my exams ended on 22nd, I was on 2550ish, 2550, 2560 chess.com Blitz. And then I gained 150 points. Like I'm on 2720 right now. 2720. Yeah. This was fun. So I think like it's just you guys motivate me to play better chess. Thing that happened was I made a blitz stream, and there I played terribly. And I was like, I want to show better chess to my viewers. And I was like, okay, I have to improve a little bit. So I was like, okay, let's try to play some better chess. We got to 2700. I was looking at some more openings, preparing more critically. Because last time I checked openings, I don't even remember when that was. Quite a few months ago. So I was a bit outdated on that side. Until then, I started also following tournaments in more depth. Like I was following Sharjah, I was following Dubai. Until then, we can look at. Okay, Caruana has finally played f5, so he's getting back his senses. This is a good move. You can play g5. I think this is a little bit ill-timed. If you wanted to play f5, you could have done that before rook d8, right? Rook d8 and f5 have no connection. Because you could always play f5 and then decide whether you want to play rook d8 or not. So I don't see the connection between rook d8 and f5, personally speaking. Maybe he's e4, some maybe just maybe. I think he thought that Ali Reza was threatening e4, but that would not be possible now, right? I would think that there would be e5 here. So that could be something. However, I can always take with the queen, and then maybe he wanted rook d5 ideas. Then h6. This could get spicy. But Firouzja is still doing fine here. Like bishop g3, you take. I take with the knight. Still doing well. Yeah, you can argue that you're getting the pawn back, but I'm getting h4, h5. And maybe h5 not right away, but first rook e1. And then I can gain h5. I think white is doing better. I think this pawn structure is nicer. King is in the center. I'm threatening queen takes d5. So yeah, that's nice. And yeah, this tournament is somehow not getting as much popularity as it should be. I saw ChessBase India yesterday, they were getting like 800 views. And they have like a concurrent watching, like 800, 900. And in candidates, they were getting tens of thousands. So this tournament is not getting as much popularity for some reason. Uh, a question is why. Magnus is playing, so I thought if Magnus is playing, you should get popularity. Doesn't quite seem to be the case, is it, guys? Is it? Oof, what do you think? What's the reason for this tournament not getting popularity as it should, as much as it should? Until then, which game should I commentate on? Should I look at? Should I look at? Which one should I look at? Okay, this one hasn't had many updates, I think. We just had e3 and now thinking whether to sack the pawn with queen f6 or whether to defend it with bishop e6. Both are possibilities. Unless he's looking at this third possibility of rook e5, which is a bit strange. It doesn't do anything. You're not threatening any checkmating attack. But it's just a fancy way to defend the pawn. Just fancy. The most practical to me, which I expect, is probably queen f6. And now Pragyananda is in the confession booth. I don't know what he's confessing. I can't hear these guys. So, yeah. But let's see if Hikaru can press Magnus. Hikaru's played f6, natural move. The best move actually. h4 is met with h5. Hikaru's pressing Magnus. If Hikaru this out against Magnus, this would be phenomenal. Phenomenal. Because beating Magnus in a Magnus-like position, wow, that's quite something. Hikaru's been in shape lately. Hikaru's been playing good chess. Even candidates he played fairly well. He lost to Vidit twice, which is a surprise, but he played fairly well there. What do you guys think? Yeah, not much going on here, yeah. Only 3 boards here, not even 4. In candidates, at least we had 4 boards. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame there. I think they could have invited more players. And yeah, they decided to invite Pragyananda instead of Gukesh. I mean, how did they make that decision? Like, how do you decide who to invite, Pragyananda or Gukesh? Both of them are top class players. Maybe they did invite Gukesh and Gukesh said that he's busy preparing for the World Championship. Maybe. But yeah, how do you decide who to invite, Pragyananda or Gukesh, as an organizer? Or like Arjun, for example, Nihal. How do you decide between these guys? They all can bring you revenue, right? They all can get you big TRP. So how do you decide? What do you think, guys? H4 is a good idea, or is it? The thing is, I'm struggling to find a move for Magnus. Like, how does he improve his position further? He can't move the rook because the a2 pawn hangs. He can't play h4 because there is h5. But how does he make progress here? So hard to play for him. So hard to make a move. Hikaru has played this excellently so far. He's up on clock as well. Genuinely no idea what Magnus does here. I mean, I'm okay. Let's consider this one thing. Let's consider this. Magnus rook d1. Hikaru, let's say for example, takes. I think now Magnus can gain some compensation by rook d7. This would be, well, this is not the best moves for either side, but this works out for in favor of Magnus. So rook d1 is a possibility. Hikaru most likely will reroute his bishop from d7 to c6 and put pressure here, and claim that Magnus was not accurate in playing g3 king g2. Now, what that does is puts Magnus into a dilemma. Does he move this rook back to e1, or does he play something like knight e3? I don't know. Very hard to make moves for Magnus. I guess my best guess is that he's going to play knight d2. We'll see something like potentially bishop c6, and Magnus is going to play f3, solidifying here. Now Hikaru still has some edge because of knight d3, but at least Magnus has had some moves that could have been played. Like he has made some moves, no? Has made a plan. So this is what I'm expecting. What do you guys think? You guys still there or not? I'm just speaking to myself. That would be fun. No, that would not be fun. So I'm just looking. Just looking. Yeah, this one. Yeah, nice, 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 nice. Too engaged in the instructive thoughts, aren't you? Just looking for some instructive chess, trying to improve all of you. I really appreciate that. Like people who are serious about chess, very nice to see. Like I don't like when people are like who love to watch, let's say, guess the elo, where you are trying to guess whether it was a 500 or a 600 chess player making the moves. I think guess the elo series is just yeah, not. It's. I think it's disrespectful to chess. No offense to any streamers who make videos on guess the elo. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't think guess the elo should exist. I think it's a waste of time for anyone who's watching that or playing that. So yeah, this is nice. I mean, we are trying to still figure out what Hikaru's trying to do, or Magnus is trying to do. Hikaru's moves are easy. No progress here. No progress here. I mean, f5 we did say nothing special for uh, Fabiano. So this is not too nothing special. Nothing special. So keep the chat going, guys. Ask some questions, discuss some things. Because what can we do while we wait for the moves? Nothing more to say, right? I mean, I've given you detailed explanations on all the boards. Unless you still miss something and you want me to go over something again, I can happily do that. So just let me know in the chat what you guys want. So that will be fun to see. Huh. Is Sagar Shah commentating today? Yesterday only Amrita was there. Is Sagar Shah there today? Well, at least for the time I watched the Chess Base India stream, only Amrita was there. But yeah, if Sir Sagar Shah is commentating, I'm just curious. Because Sagar Shah's commentating skills are unparalleled. Like, I don't know who comes close to, to Sagar Shah's commentating. Peter Lecco is good, Yasser is good. But are they as good as Sagar Shah? That's up for debate, isn't it? Levy's decent as well. Levy's not bad at commentating as well. So Levy's good too. But yeah, I can't think of a really strong competitor to uh, Sagar Shah, except maybe Yasser Sirwan. Yasser Sirwan is also very pleasant to hear. Yeah. Which other streamers are popular these days? Like Dina's becoming popular, right? This Dina Belenkaya. People like to watch her these days. Banzea, Alex Banzea is becoming popular. So yeah, these guys are there. Lots of people entering the chess YouTube thing. Any updates here? King H2 played as predicted. King H2 was predicted. Firuza's playing precise. He might be in shape again. Okay, Fabiano maybe is a bit tilted after yesterday. He lost to Hikaru, so maybe he's a bit tilted. He lost in the Armageddon, not the normal one. Armageddon. So if you lose in the Armageddon, the thing here is you gain 1 point. And if you win the Armageddon, you gain 1.5 points. So Hikaru's on 1.5, Fabiano is on 1. And if you win the classical game, then you gain 3 points. So you have incentive to win. You have incentive to win classical games. Can Fabi play G6? G5 is even more aggressive, so G5 is the better version of G6. But this doesn't seem too wrong as well, at least not optically. The thing is, white does not even have to touch anything. White could just play knight d2. And if you play g5, then I ask you, why did you not play in one go? So if you play g6, you're not playing g5. Then that means you're probably playing something like g takes h5. This would seem more natural. But then one thing I could do is, now there is Injun's plan and there is my plan. Injun's plan is to play knight b3 and play on the queen side. If you play b6, then Injun wants something like e4 or maybe a4 or even queen b5, putting pressure here, queen d7, then queen e2, and then going e4, which is too difficult for me to see. My plan, I think, is more natural. I want to keep the knight on d2, but I want to play rook f1 and then I want to play e4. This is more natural to me. And I gain full control over the f file and the g file. So this Injun's plan with knight b3 is not completely understandable to me. He says go knight b3 and then go e4, but what's the point of that? Why not keep the knight on d2 and keep it on b3? No, not clear to me yet. Yes, Ali Reza can, of course, double up the rooks because this rook can, this rook. Yeah, you can. It's a possibility, but there are many ways to play for white. So Fabiano is the one who is having to think. Fabiano's the one who's having to think. Alireza is doing fine. Fabiano did not play well in the critical moments. Like, critical moments were like few moves ago, and then Fabiano did not make the most precise moves. So you can, of course, double up the rooks. I'm interested if Magnus can find something. He plays rook e3. Now that means you can never control the d file. And I guess Magnus is hoping for a3 rook e1 idea. Hikaru can play at a5. If you play a3, Hikaru can just play a4, make a complete bind on this 3 pawns. Let's say Magnus continues with his idea of rook e1, which would seem natural. Hikaru doesn't have to do anything at all. He could just play b5. and claim how is Magnus making progress. How is Magnus making progress? Like there is nothing more Magnus can do, right? The knights are placed fine, rooks are placed fine. This is what we call reaching the trend. Magnus has improved all his pieces to the maximum, and still he doesn't have much. So his pieces have reached the trend. It's an official term. And there's nothing more Magnus can do. He just has to wait. Let's say he plays 3. Hikaru can just improve the king. Magnus plays king h2, for example. Hikaru even plays h5, king g2 again, and bishop b3. So, yeah, Magnus's moves are much harder to find. Yeah. And black is doing very well here. You could play rook e2, but then you can always get hit with bishop c4, for example, right? So, it doesn't really do anything. The thing is, nothing does anything for Magnus here. There is no move which he can play and be. So that's the thing. Magnus is fighting for equality from white pieces. Imagine. What is the point of moving the king? For example, I see people moving the king into the corner after castling. I think. Well, the one which I showed you just right now was just making a pass because there is no better move. Like I don't see anything how to make progress for white. But I think in general, what you're talking about is a position like this. Let me give you an example. You're talking about is a position like this. So let's consider something like this. And you'll often see people, let's say queen c7, and you'll often see people going king h1. I think this is the kind of thing you're interested in. The point here is really that sometimes what happens is that this bishop can come into this diagonal and tactics can be there. So once you move your king into h1, you're sidestepping all the checks that can occur across this diagonal. That's the point. I think this is what you are looking for. The idea is to sidestep all the tactics, essentially. Like if you ever see person moving their king to the side, it's a safeguarding move. Hopefully that's clear. So yeah, good question. Good question. Very good question. Wait, how many of you are from India? Candy Shop owner, are you from India or no? Ram, no, I don't think Ram. I think Ram told me he was not from India. He told me he was from somewhere else. Was he? Was it USA, Ram? Okay, you're from India. I think Ram was from USA. Oh no, UK. Yeah, yeah, you're same. Yeah, nice, nice. There was someone from USA as well. I forgot his name. I think his name started with A. So that guy was from USA. There was one. I think Teshal was from Ethiopia. He was watching from Ethiopia. Teshal, one of the OGs of the stream. So yeah, just nice to see a diverse network. I've been thinking what kind of content to make. Like I love doing live streaming. But in terms of let's say normal content, what sort of content should I make? Like recaps. Do you guys want me to make recaps, or do you guys want me to cover openings like Banzea does, Alex Banzea? Yeah. What kind of content should I make? There are so many ideas, but I don't know what the audience wants, and I want my time to be worthwhile. No, I want to make something which people will watch. I think there have been updates in this game, so I did play subscribers. Yeah, I might do that actually. I can't do that until night at 8. Wait a second. Okay, I'll go back to that in a second. I can't do that while this stream is going on. I can't do both the streams. So it will either have to be this tournament or playing with subscribers because of the time constraints I have. But okay, maybe I can do it for 30 minutes. 30-35 minutes. Yeah, what I could do is I could do a short stream, a vertical short stream, playing with subscribers. That would be awesome. Yeah, that could get me subscribers quickly. What do you guys think? Vertical stream, going towards shorts, playing with subscribers. That seems like a nice idea, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I'm getting an intuition of what's working. Yeah. Like my shorts have been doing some of them did very well. Others okay, and only a few that did not do well. So puzzles on shorts do fairly well. I think that's what people like to see, puzzles on shorts. That's what I could figure out from the statistics of my shorts. Yeah. Gotham. Gotham has been playing good chess recently. I don't know how he's I don't know how he has so much knowledge. But he's been playing well recently on chess.com, for example. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't think he has read. Maybe the experience. He's got a lot of experience. Yeah, that might be helping because he's streaming full time and he's recording videos full time, and but still he's playing good chess, which somehow is a bit surprising to me. He's playing better blitz than me, for example. Yeah, yeah, I completely get your idea. Have you been seeing that series where this guy Gotham is getting coached by this one guy who's also a YouTuber? He's Gotham is trying for his GM title, right? He's got a lot of rating to be gained. He's on K factor 10, so it's gonna take some time. But he is serious about getting the GM title, or as it would seem. He was serious before and then he lost hope, and now he's got hope back again. Because in classical chess he overthinks a lot. So do I, to be fair, but not as much as him. Ah, do you guys like to play? Yeah, he even uploaded a. Oh, did he? Okay. Do you guys like to play more with common sense or logic, or do you guys like to calculate a lot? Like, for example, Kasparov used to calculate a lot, like heavily. Kasparov loved calculating. Karpov, on the other hand, used to like play more with logic. So Capablanca used to love to play with logic and common sense, but he would be alert to tactics as well. Kasparov pure calculation, Gukesh calculation, Pragyananda calculation. Now Hikaru's played this knight h8 idea. He's trying to go to f7 and then probably play g6 and ask where the f5 knight is going. Your strategy is to put pieces on squares and hope for the best. That's nice. Hope for the best. Personally, I like Magnus' style better. I think Magnus and Hans have similar styles, and I have a similar style to them. What we like to do is we like to combine strategy and calculation. Yeah, end games are so strict in the sense that if you make one bad move in endgame, you are probably in a losing position. Endgames are where it comes down to your calculation ability. So good. Like I drew a pawn endgame, which still gives me nightmares because I could not calculate something precisely in time pressure. Like You can check my end game against Yao Lan. So it's like Lan Yao or something like that. I'm gonna type it in the chat. Versus Lan Yao or very similar name. British Chess Championship 2023. Type BCC 2023. I messed up this pawn endgame under time pressure, and you'll see how tragic it was. BCC stands for British Chess Championship. Oh, hi Ishit, how's it going, man? Good to see you again. Good to see you again. Now, Hikaru has a misplaced White's Knight. Misplaced knight to h4. Now Magnus needs to move this knight somewhere and then bring back this knight. This is going to be a tough game for Magnus. Hikaru could just play knight f7 here, which I think he's going to do because what else? He could also play a5, a4, which I'm expecting to see soon. Up to him what he wants first. Up to him. a5, a4 looks very natural to me, but knight f7 is good. Both are good. Do you guys know Nils Grandelius, who's also commentating? Like, are you familiar with him? Nils Grandelius. Yo. Ishid, do you play chess or are you just watching me? Ishid used to be my neighbor, guys, the guy in the chat. He was my neighbor in India. You guys don't know Nils Grandelius. You only know the famous players, yeah? Oh, well, you can argue Nils Grandelius is famous. Reasonably. Reasonably. But yeah. So just trying to remember who guys were like so good at chess and then fell off. Or at least don't play anymore. Like Grishuk is definitely one of them. Like Grishuk in time trouble was a monster. Now he's semi-retired. But Grishuk was a fun guy. His interviews especially. Grishuk was a good one. And yeah, Eronian in his prime was very strong. Anand in his prime was very strong. Let's not talk about Kramnik. He's gone on a different path. Who else? Who else? Yi was at one point very strong. He's still very strong, but he stopped playing classical chess. Yi, Chinese grandmaster. Probably the youngest player to reach 2700, wasn't he? Yeah, Kramnik does the procedure, yeah. Kramnik's ego has gotten hurt. So, yeah. I don't know what he's up to. I think he even said Gotham was cheating. I think he said Hikaru was cheating, Gotham was cheating, then this one guy, Tihon, was cheating. Hosepem was cheating. I think Hosepem and Kramnik are actually playing a match where they're putting money on the line. Hosepem and Kramnik are playing a match. Yeah, they are for sure. Even Nihal, yeah. He did say Nihal was cheating. But there's a match in June between Kramnik and Hosepem with money on the line. Half of the games will be played online and half of them will be in person to see whether there is any evidence of cheating or not. Have a look. I think I saw that somewhere, but I don't know where. So yeah. Okay, knight f7 played. Still looking for a4, a5, a4 ideas. Magnus could play g4 if he wanted. Looks a bit sketchy, putting all the pawns on light squares. But maybe it gives you some necessary space. And if white can put the pawn on f4, if this pawn was on f4, Magnus would be doing completely fine. It's strange that this pawn is on f2. Let's say you put a rook on... Let's say you could get this pawn on f4 right away. Magnus's position would improve tenfold. Okay, he does play g4, so he finds the best move. Now he wants to put the pawn on f4 somehow. He doesn't look pleased with this position, but now his body language has improved a little bit. Maybe he's seeing some sort of improvement. Hikaru does have knight d6 now, trying to go knight c4. Yeah, this is. I don't know, it's up to Hikaru how he wants to do this. Interesting stuff. Huh, as Kramnik would say. Interesting. Ah, I'm tired of speaking. I need a co commentator, honestly. I'm tired of speaking that much. Uh, I don't know how Sagasha does it for like 4 hours straight. Oh, it's been like 1.5 hours and I'm already losing my voice. Ah, Morozevich. But he just retired, right? He didn't fell off. He just retired, didn't he? He just retired all of a sudden. Yeah, his openings. I don't know how he got to that level with his openings. Like, he was playing so dubious stuff. I guess he can't do the same thing now that we have engines. Well, you could argue Rapport is still doing that. He's playing dubious stuff with even with engines. Did he? I can't recall the end of can't recall the end of Morozevich. Yeah. The thing is, as you get old, you come down from your prime, don't you? So that's what happens with quite a lot of players. Like Magnus is still there. He's still he's not I won't say he's in his prime, but he's not too far from it, I would say. He's still close enough. It's just that he lost motivation. So that was the thing that happened. He lost motivation. But I do prefer faster time controls. The commentary is more lively. Here I have to wait so much for a move to be played without a co-commentator. Thing is, who like anyone who I wanted to get is already playing in a tournament right now. Like I had one grandmaster in my contacts which I could have gotten on the stream, and he's already playing a tournament. He's playing Dubai Open, so could not get him. Could not also. Do I have any IMs in my contact? I have one GM, maybe another one as well. Two actually. So yeah, I don't have. How many games out of 100 do you think you would win against current Kasparov? Are we talking about Blitz, Classical, or Rapid? Because Classical, probably none. Classical, probably none. In Blitz, I think I can. Classical, no, I don't have a chance, no. If I'm very lucky, maybe 1 out of 100. I can make a few draws. I can probably get some draws. But beating Kasparov in Classical, I'm not so sure about that. In Blitz, maybe. In Blitz, maybe. In Blitz, I have a chance. Because Kasparov played against Ray Enigma in Blitz, and Ray Enigma had some chances to win. And let's say Vishy Anand played against this girl Nemo in Blitz, and she had some chances. So players like me, of like my strength, can get some chances in Blitz or Rapid. But Classical against Kasparov, nah, not yet, not yet. Who do you think is the best player in their prime? Magnus. Magnus. You could, like, Kasparov comes close, of course. Very close. But I think Magnus. Yeah, Magnus would be the choice. For sure. Like, prime Magnus. Come on, how do you beat that guy? Yeah. Like, even Mamedyarov said that Magnus has a chance against engines. Magnus is the only one who has a chance against engines. Mamedyarov has been out of the competitive chess for a while as well. Haven't seen him in a while. Mamedorov used to be so aggressive. Well, he still is aggressive, but I guess like defensive ability has improved so much that it's not quite mattering. Ian, welcome to the chat. You are a new one, aren't you? Welcome to the stream. Hikaru has played Stockfish to a draw once or twice. Was it Stockfish 16 or a lower version of Stockfish? I don't think it was Stockfish 16. I think I briefly recall what you're talking about, but it wasn't Stockfish 16. In more than 100 games, like me beating Kasper, like the highest rated player I've ever beaten in classical chess is like 2550. 1 to 2 draws isn't a big deal for a GM. Are we still talking about the same thing? Like me against Kasparov? Is that what we're still talking about? Like no, like the highest player I've ever beaten in a classical game is 2550, and Kasparov is like 2800. Even though he doesn't play classical anymore, but still, beating Kasparov in a classical is way too difficult for me. Draws, it's a possibility because he's out of shape. Oh, he drew versus Mittens. Okay, okay, yeah. Because like making a draw against Stockfish 16, I would be surprised, seriously surprised. Yeah, no, only draws, I would say. In Blitz, I can probably get like maybe a win, like no disrespect to him whatsoever. But in Blitz, I can probably get a win in like one out of some of quite a few games. If we play enough games, maybe I can get a win in Blitz. Classical too difficult. But right now I see Hikaru dominating Carlsen in a Carlsen like position. The thing is, it wasn't even like a special opening. Uh, I think I don't think here it is like unless the video is delayed as well. If the video is delayed, then yes, because I see the moves in the video and on the chessboard being made at the same time. So unless there is a delay in the video, then there is a delay on the chessboard. I wouldn't know. Maybe if there's a delay, it would be like Hikaru's finding best moves after best moves. He's going for bishop d7, bishop e c6, maneuvering this bishop to a better square. Hikaru's playing this well. Magnus is a genius in my books. Well, he's still a genius, but he'll gain my respect even more if he can make a draw in this one comfortably. Like I would be so impressed because if I were to play this position against Hikaru, I'm not making a draw here. Most likely I'll collapse somewhere. Most likely I'll collapse against Hikaru. Maybe against a player my strength I can hold this. Against Hikaru I'll probably collapse. Because black's moves are so easy to make and my moves as white are so hard to make that it's hard to play for something. Ian, out of curiosity, where are you watching the stream from? Like we got some people from UK, we got some people from India, previously from Ethiopia and USA. Where are you watching the stream from? I'm very curious. Would be nice to see. Colorado, USA. Wow. Wow, we got my stream is reaching USA. Ha, nice. We're reaching more USA people than UK people. Nice. And more than Indians. Maybe equalish. Equalish. But so pleased to have you here. So pleased to have you here. Like it's I love to see. Yeah, that's good. That's nice. Hopefully, like you'll stay there for like you'll be in the community for a while. They were showing games I didn't care about. Haha. Well, we care about Magnus versus Hikaru, so this is probably a game you do care about. And I'm just an upcoming YouTuber. I'm trying to build up my audience. So I hope to see you in some of the subsequent streams. And it would be great to have you, yeah, in the subsequent streams. Do you take any chess lessons? Rarely. Like, I have a coach, but I rarely take lessons because I was so much more focused on academics that maybe now I'll get more intense with lessons. But yeah, mostly I try to teach myself. But sometimes you do have to take lessons. What can you do? Yeah. Trying to secure my final IM norm. Okay, let's see. We got Firuja Caruana. Knight d2 played, Queen f7 played. Okay, so Karuna has just all the right things, just at the wrong times. Like this idea was necessary, but it could have been done earlier. But still, he's not in big trouble. The thing is, knight d2, he can't grab because rook takes g7. So this is of course good for white. You get the second rook in. This is all good. So Fabiano can't take. He has to play like bishop f6, defend the g7 pawn, and then try to gain this thing. Then what white could do is play bishop g5. If you take, which seems natural, I can take and I can still play. I can actually go with Candy Shop owner's plan. Double the rooks. This is what he suggested long time ago. Croatia. How are we reaching Croatia? This is crazy. This is crazy. How are we reaching Croatia? Nero, welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the stream. What's his price for coaching? Like my coach. Uh how much was I paying? $35, I think. $35 from Georgia. But there's also one more from Ukraine, which I did some group lessons under him some time ago. One guy from Ukraine as well. I don't know how much I paid for that. I don't remember. Well, my father paid for that. So I don't know. But yeah. Carlsen has made up some bad ground. Strange because his knights are so bad. Why is he putting alpha Q everywhere? Oh, he got me there. He got me there. Oh, he got me there, didn't he? Yeah, per hour. Yes, per hour. Bit expensive, isn't it? Coaching is expensive these days. His knights are stuck. Yeah, I mean, let's. If you want to look at Carlsen's one, it's just it's hard to find a plan for Carlsen because how to place these knights? These knights, as Hikaru would say. And Hikaru has this plan of playing a5, a4, clamping down on a2, putting the bishop on c6 against this king. Carlsen's knights, I don't know, they don't have a job right now. So difficult. One thing I mentioned was that it would be much better for Carlsen to have this pawn on f4 since he could play e5 then. But right now with the pawn on f2, Hikaru's doing very well here. Very well. Uh, uh, yeah, okay. We saw this game. Queen f6 was played. So Pragyananda sacked the pawn, but in return, he's got some great activity. And he's going to c3. He's going to take on c3, which would be nice. And then it's just an equal position. Maybe slight edge for Dingleren, because black only has 3 pawns with his king, white has 4. So white's king is a bit safer. So slight edge for Ding. Nothing special, but slight. Bishop c6, king g3. Which game? Which game, Ian? Let me see. Oh, maybe you're talking about Hikaru's game. Ah, bishop c6, b3. Okay, this was predicted, so nothing that we missed. My guess is, I would have rook e6. Was it really necessary? It's a move, but I thought Hikaru. Like I would if I were to play this position, I would have played a3, a5 first. Like I loved this idea of a5, a4. Engine says knight d6 was better or bishop c4 was better, but a5, a4 I think is practically what I would do. Hikaru goes for this idea, which is also reasonable, nothing wrong with it, but he's not focusing on this side of the board. I thought it was possible to do that. Maybe Carlsen would have met a5 with b3 anyways, so it didn't give much. Let's see if it did. If you play a5 here and if you play b3, is that good enough? No, now I have a4, and if you play b4, I have takes and I have bishop c4, and my bishop can stand very nicely on b5. So yeah, this idea with a5, a4 was to be considered. Hikaru went for this e4 pawn, but it's already protected multiple times. He can double and try for something. Let's say he goes this, knight d2, and then the knights can coordinate back. So I don't think Hikaru has done this to the best of his ability, but he's done this fine enough. Fine enough. Do you think Ding could defend his world championship title? Your stream is performing much better than yes. What does much better than yes mean? Ding, I'm in favor of Gukesh. I think Gukesh is going to be so determined to get that title, and he's so hardworking. Yeah, it's performing much better than yesterday, and that's nice to see. Really pleased to have people from different countries. We got Nero from Croatia, we got Ian from USA. Really pleased to see new people in the chat. I hope they will be there for a while, like in the subsequent streams as well. I want to I want to have like a family of OG subscribers, you know what I'm saying? Like people who were there when I was a small channel. So yeah. Hikaru, I think Hikaru targeted the wrong segment of the position. He could have done a5, a4. What's my goal as a chess player? At least IM would be. Oh wow, 10 watching. 10 people are watching me. Wow. For 160. That's actually not that bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe I'm doing something right. I don't know. But to answer Ian's question, I'm looking for my final IM norm. So my FIDE rating is like 2374. I need 2400 FIDE and I need one more IM norm. Then I'll be an IM. And then I can consider about GM if I want. But since I'm in second year of university, well, I will be in second year of university in September. Then yeah, it becomes difficult to get to GM title because to become a GM, let's be honest, you need to be devoted full time to chess. Which chess player do you know was devoted part time to chess and became a GM? Do you know a single one? So unless I go chess full time, uh, how old are you, Sakiv? I'm 19. No, Ali Reza wasn't a part time chess player. Ali Reza is becoming a part time chess player now. Yeah, this happened now, but I'm talking about becoming a grandmaster. When Ali Reza became a grandmaster, he was full time into chess. He was a prodigy, right? He was only focusing on chess. Now he is like a part time chess player. Oh, you'll be 22 in October. I'm only 19, so I'll be 20 in August. Yeah, this is my last year of being a teenager. I'm entering my 20s. I'm getting old, you know, getting old. I'll be 20 in August. Yeah, you are young. You are still young. You got time. 17 is young. But okay, let's commentate. What have we got? Have we got more moves? King F8. It's King F8. Well, is Hikaru really telling me that he didn't have anything better than that? Like, you could still go A5. Well, what is King F8? And now then these people ask themselves, why are they not as good as Carlsen? Because you're playing King F8 when you could have played A5. See, this is the Magnus effect. Yeah, you can't. Like, I highly doubt anyone has ever done that. Highly doubt it. Unless you're like a supernatural talent, unless you are like a genius, I highly doubt. Maybe in earlier days you could because there were no engines. But now there are engines, everyone is so well prepared. How do you do that? How do you do that? So yeah, I mean King F8. What is? I mean I don't understand King F8. Like Hikaru has been playing like Hikaru was playing so well until King F8. It's sad. He still has a slight edge. Don't get me wrong, but I personally I don't think King F8 was the best move. Maybe he still preserves his advantage, but I'm not convinced with King F8. I'm not convinced. Okay, Pragyananda has grabbed the pawn on c3. Now, this is like a slight edge for white. Why is it a slight edge? Safer king for white. To evaluate a position, you're always looking at material, king safety, pawn structure. Three things, three main things. Material is equal, king safety is in white's favor, and development and pawn structure is about okay for both of them. Plus, white has couple of additional files which adds to the evaluation, So white has a slight edge. Especially since he can gain a tempo, like rook c1 seems automatic. Queen f6 and knight c5. Yeah, this looks good for white. Maybe more than a slight edge if you gain the bishop pair. A bit more than a slight edge. In an open position, you want the bishop pair. Yeah, this is actually a clear slight edge for white. At least I think so. Whether you want to take with the queen, the rook, or the bishop, that's Pragyananda's decision. I'm not going to go deep into that. My rating is 1800, and when I played GM, I asked so hard. Yeah. And then a third was like, "Where? How did you even play a GM?" You guys are funny. I played a GM. I think first GM I was 1900 FIDE, and that video is on YouTube. The first time I played a GM, I don't think I ever played a GM before that. So if you're 1800, 1900, you can get paid against a GM. Yeah. But when you guys say 1800, do you guys mean 1800 FIDE or chess.com? Because those two are different things. 1800 FIDE is not say. He was surprised with my Alpin, but I didn't know any lines. Yeah. In Alpin, actually, there is this new idea which is getting a lot of popularity. Example, e4, c5, c3, d5, queen d5, d4, knight c6, knight f3. One thing that's gaining popularity in Alapin is, let's say people are playing this knight after, let's say e6, people are playing this knight a3, knight b5 idea. This is gaining some popularity. This is just for you to be explored. Let's say you take on d4. I actually can play knight b5, threatening knight c7. If you play queen d8, I can play bishop f4 and I'm winning on the spot. So this is like one idea which I can show you. You can explore this in your own time. But this knight a3 idea is becoming popular. It's a good trick to know. Oh, has it become the main line now? Okay, this idea came recently, but maybe it has become the main line. Oh yeah, I know Ivan Saric. Who doesn't know Ivan Saric? Very strong grandmaster, very aggressive grandmaster. He made a course on e4, didn't he? Or at least it was a course on beating the Sicilians or something. These days, you have so many resources, it's crazy. Like, genuinely, you want any opening, there's a course available. That you can, if you guys are preparing using a course, well, at your level, you can use course like move by move. But at my level, we have to use course as a reference because not everything in a course is correct. Would you? Oh, you felt how aggressive he can be. It still hurts. Probably does. What would you prefer against Sicilian A3 or C3? No, a3 is dubious. A3 is nothing. C3, of course. Like if you were to make a choice between one of those two. I have been trying. I have been trying. What do you call C3 in some online games with reasonable success. Because Alapin has some tricky ideas if your opponent does not know the theory. If your opponent does know the theory, then it's equal. But funny that you can get like a slight advantage in Alapin always. Like I don't know any line in which black is objectively slightly better. You can get equality there. Let's see if there have been any updates. King F8. Yeah, nothing. Like at least he can play knight G2, knight F4. He's still recovering. Still recovering. If Carlsen wins this game, that would be like crazy. Like genuinely crazy if he wins this game. Like that's when you know Magnus is Magnus. Yeah, if Magnus wins this game, he's the greatest player of all time. Like without a doubt, Fischer doesn't come close. Kasparov doesn't come close. If Carlsen wins this game. I won against a 1900 feeder with Alapin, but we played Blitz online. Okay. Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. No. Of course, you can get some interesting ideas in Alapin for sure. Developing. It's developing. I have always been. I've always been a huge fan of Knight F3. I think I've played Knight F3 almost exclusively, like E4, C5, Knight F3. But if you are playing Blitz, you can also consider Grand Tricks, which is E4, C5, Knight C3, and then you can play F4. It's also a nice weapon. So Knight C3 is also good. Seen in classical games, but still popular in Blitz. But I guess it will be revived soon. E4, C5, Knight C3, F4. Maybe Grand Prix will be revived. Who knows? Who knows? So that's nice. What else do we have? This game, nothing more. So let's look at Fabi. Fabi. Bishop F6 played as we predicted. And now I was expecting Bishop G5 by Gucci Reza, as we call him now. Gucci Reza. Because he's a fashion designer now. Gucci Reza plays Bishop G5. And yeah, Gucci Reza has been playing some good chess in this game. So yeah. What was his result yesterday in Armageddon? Did he win the Armageddon yesterday? Let me check. Gucci Reza lost the Armageddon yesterday. Oh, and he's still playing well. Nice. Nice. Bishop 5, it's a question what to play for Ali Reza. For Fabiano. Like, if you take, then we got this beautiful plan with Rook G2, Rook G1, suggested by none other than Candy Shop owner. So that's nice. Dingleren one, I don't know why he's not playing Rook C1, seems automatic to me. Maybe Queen B5 is a consideration, activating the bishop this way. But I'm more interested in this game. I just want to see Carlsen rise out of the dead and beating Hikaru. Like, although I respect Hikaru a lot, but I just want to see the Carlsen effect in place. Carlsen winning a slightly worse, not even equal, but slightly worse endgame that I would have collapsed in. He does that, he is just a genius. 40 minutes up on the clock, yeah. I think Hikaru lost his momentum. Bishop moves. I don't see a real threat for Magnus. Okay, now he plays a5. Like after 10 moves, finally. It's still a good move though, don't get me wrong. But now can Carlsen not play a4 for example? And just block everything? Isn't just blocking everything, is this not possible? Or am I missing something? He does not have to touch anything, but it's a possibility. You could also play knight g2. Probably my choice would be knight g2. I'll wait for g5 and then I'd think if I want to play a4 or not. My only problem was Hikaru playing King F8. Like everything else, I think he's done very nicely. I didn't think King F8 was necessary. But Hikaru knows more than me, so yeah, let's not discredit him. Hikaru's a much better player than me. H4, H6, Rook E2, yeah, possible. Carlsen's still holding. Like what I expect him to do is play Rook E2 and then maneuver this knight like this. I think that's the only way he can achieve some coordination in his camp. But still A4, still not as easy for Carlsen as you would think. Hikaru's doing this well. I'd love to see the Hikaru's recap and his thoughts on how he conducted this positional play and what kind of things he was talking about. If you keep an eye on Hikaru's recap for this game, keep an eye on it. Will be instructive. Until then, feel free to ask any other questions. Yeah, this is nice. Okay, what have we got here? Yeah, played. And do we see the candy shop owner's plan, Rook G2, or do we see something aggressive like Rook G7? The thing with Rook G7 is that you can trade a pair of rooks. Is that in your favor? That's a different question. But you can trade a pair of rooks. B7 hangs. Now Engine shows me an insane idea. Engine says play King F8. Sack the pawn and play Queen H4, going for some sort of perpetual here. And Engine claims this is a draw. If you play Queen F1, Rook G8, and you don't have Rook B8 check, so I can play Queen G3 and somehow get a draw. In fact, the only move for White to survive is Knight B3. Otherwise, White is losing. Engine is strange. Engine is strange sometimes. If I play a move like A3, I'm actually losing after Rook G5. Like, what is Rook G5? I have no idea. Let's say A4, and you play Queen G3 check, King H1, Rook H5, and you lose. So, Engine is crazy, man. Engine's crazy. So, but like conservative is Rook G2. I like Rook G2 a lot. I like Rook G2 a lot. What do you guys think? I think simply doubling, keeping it conservative, asking Black what his plan is very good. Yeah. What other openings do you guys like to play? I like to play Knight of a lot, to play King's Indian online games, in online games. I like that. Because I feel like there's no point playing boring chess online, so I try to keep it spicy. I play King's Indian quite a bit online. What do you guys play? Huh. Let's see what have we got. We got Carlson. Why are there only three boards? I'm getting bored then. I want to see more boards. I want to commentate in more depth on other games. What if after Rook G7 he plays Queen H6? Yeah, let's explore that. So Rook G7 6. You just hang a pawn, right? Well, okay, maybe your argument is that you're trying to play this and Queen H4, same idea. But the same idea, well, one reason is there is Queen B5, so your knight is under some trouble. And let's say you play Rook C8, defending the knight. I can actually gain this useful tempo that I made your rook go to C8, and then I can play Queen E2. If you play Queen H4, I can play Queen E1. So this tempo helped me in that sense that you did not achieve Queen G3. So that was a useful tempo. And apparently you don't get much. The next question you might ask is, well, can you not go Queen G6 and go for some sort of Queen G3 here? Now I just play Queen F2 and I cover all the key squares. So you don't get anything. Hopefully that answers your question. I think that was a great explanation. What is a tempo? A tempo is okay, let me give you an example. So let's go to Alapin. Let's go to Alapin. So A tempo is when you develop with forcefulness. A good example of tempo is this one: e4 c5 c3 knight f6 e5 knight here, and something like bishop c4 you would call a tempo because it develops with attack, making a threat. It's not the best move in this position, but it's an example of a tempo. Even knight f3 knight c6, this is an example of a tempo. You develop with attack, so you need to make this piece move again. So development, making a threat, is called a tempo in vanilla terms, plain vanilla terms. So you gain a tempo. Tempo is useful because if you gain enough tempos, you can, well, if you, the plural of tempo is tempi. If you gain enough tempi, then you can gain advantage in development, which means you can get good attack very quickly. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps. Yeah. But what do you guys do except chess? I'm curious. Like, do you guys just do chess all day, or do you have other plans? Oh wow, that's pleased to. I'm pleased to hear that. No worries, no worries, no worries. No way, Suresh Garg is in the chat. No way. He's one of my school friends, guys. Like we learned chess at almost the same time. Uh, and he's from IIM, guys. Not a joke. He studies in IIM. Guy is a academic. Guy is like a scholar. You know what I'm saying? A person to be taken seriously. He's not your average Joey. He's Suresh Garg, from IIM. This guy is not to be taken lightly. In his prime, he beat me a lot when we were young. Now we are old. Aren't we, Suresh Garg? Aren't we? And the thing is, like no matter what rating I achieve, eh, like somehow he always manages to score like a draw or win against me. Hikaru played pawn a4 as expected. Did he? Did he? Hikaru played a4. Yeah, he probably did. And now he plays. So he's just consolidating. He's not even trying for much. I think Hikaru's not in the winning mode. Now he's fine with a draw. I think he just says play knight g2, g5, h4, and we'll hope. We'll see what happens. One thing I can see happening is that white plays knight g1 and he goes f4. Like white was waiting to play f4 his whole life. And this is something we might see happening in this game. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. If not that, Carlsen might go knight h2 and then play f4. Because if Carlsen wants to play for something, he has to play f4. There is no other way to make progress. No other way at all. At all. Yeah. So that would be great. Ah. Okay, few moves been made. Let's see. Knight g2. Choosing this plan. I expect g5 to stop knight f4. I think g5 will be played very quickly. You can't allow knight f4, knight d5. In the beginning, we argued that if this knight gets to d5, white is doing fine. So Hikaru has to stop that. And I think he'll realize that. No, it's not rocket science. Unmade, it's time for you to kick Carlsen's ass. Little difficult. Little bit difficult. Yeah, no worries. Good night. Probably very late in India. No, 11ish, no? Yeah. But it was great to see you on the stream. Have a good night. Enjoy. I'll see you later. Yeah, it would be nice. My exams are over. Yeah, so you can. Anytime. I was busy with exams. They ended on 22nd. So I'm free now. Maybe we'll discuss some valuation tomorrow. G5 played. Yep, as expected, we are looking for H4, I guess. H4 is a possibility, a strong possibility. And then we want E5 at some point. White to play E5. Yeah. And okay, rook E2. No, not H4. Carlson keeping it conservative as well. I guess maybe he's going for this idea as we talked about, and then E5. Who knows? He's keeping H4 on the cards, and then he's looking to play either knight G1 F4 or knight E1 knight D3 or H4. Three plans. Hikaru can't stop all of them. So yeah, it's up to Hikaru what he wants to do. I mean, I would be shocked if Carlsen wins this one. I would be so shocked. You would know Magnus effect is real if that happens. What else have we got? Um, Anything in this game? Let me refresh. Nope, no moves here. This is my problem. So there is so much waiting time in these classical games. So much waiting time. Uh, Rook D1 played by Hikaru. Probably going to B1 or something. The rooks can always get traded by Rook E1. So I don't think there is anything to be afraid of. But it's up to Carlsen. Maybe here he wants Rook D6. Oh no, E4 hangs. Nice. So you could play H4, H6. And we could go knight E1 and F4 idea. But E4 is not trivial to defend, is it? Maybe you want to make a bind with F3 and then put the knight on F2. Also a possibility. But the white is too passive there though. I'm not sure Carlsen would like that. Looking at Rook D1. Yeah, still not easy for Carlsen. I thought he had made some progress, but still difficult. Ding Liren has made some progress. He's played the F rook to C1. I'm not sure what's the purpose of F rook. Like, it's a hard decision which rook to place, no? Both the rooks look good. Say F rook, okay. Now he plays knight D2 and he wants knight E4 or knight C4, which is reasonable. And there is knight E4, queen G6, queen B5, go to C5, knight D6. Yeah, like white has some initiative, so still better chances. After a day of tournament games, make a shot on what happened that day. Huh, okay, I could. I could. Yeah, let's try. Let's try that. Discord, you want me to make a Discord for our community? I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. That's possible. That's a possibility. Sure. But the first thing I need to do is like I have to do step-by-step improvements. Firstly, I have to start this vertical streaming and normal streaming at the same time. That's the first step. I need to make sure. The rest will come. Yeah, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Understand what you're saying. Oof. Okay. Yeah, guys. I think, guys, I'm going to call it a day here. I think I've commented enough and I've got some other things to be done. Maybe tomorrow I'll commentate for a bit longer. I'm hungry as well. So I think I'm going to call it a day here. Thank you, everyone, sincerely, who joined. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure seeing you all. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, though, when the matches start. Thank you very much.